Welcome to video number 3. This is going to be an extra juicy module. It is all about marketing, your introduction to marketing. Now, what I will ask you to do, definitely get that pen and paper handy. I will give you a heads up. I do tend to speak a little passionately about marketing. So I would encourage you not only to read the slides in front of you and make note of it, but also to what I will have to say, because what I tend to do with marketing is, yes, I speak to the slides, but I definitely ad lib a bit. So there will be extra value said as well as, the value that you see on the slides. Okay. Now, let us dive in. Okay, so here we roll. Looking forward to it. Okay, now a business will only grow in line with its ability to clearly communicate how it helps. Okay, this in a nutshell is your marketing. Okay. Marketing is the place that businesses so often fail to put the most energy and effort to. Okay. Usually there's a whole heap of planning, a whole heap of strategizing, and to be honest, not much thought for marketing. So often what I see is the splattergun approach, the post and hope, the coffee catch ups. Yes. Okay. And because of all of that, they're actually never able to grow in the way that they would like to. Okay. So what I'm going to show you is a very simple 6-part marketing funnel. Now, please do not let this slide overwhelm you. It is not complicated. Okay. You'll see this as we talk through it. So this process, it's all about enrolling premium clients. Okay, now this whole process is how you can start to enroll just a small handful, okay, of premium clients in the next 30, 60, 90 days. Okay, and now the best part about this, because it is a system, because we can refine this system as we go, that means every 30 days or so, we can look back at the feedback, okay? And then we get to run this process again, right? And I said, yeah, great, cool. I had a go, I I had it going so smoothly, at this stage at the funnel, right? And as a result, this was the result. And I had a bit of a kink here, and that then relayed to this. That's where you get to fine tune and then go again. Okay, so this is so powerful because we get to reflect on that last 30 days. Yep, we get to refine the last 30 days. We get to look at the data, okay, and we say, how can we improve? Yeah. And we go again. So the 6-part marketing funnel, as you're listening to this video, you're actually going through this right now. Okay. This is exactly what you went through, right? Right here to actually be on this video training series right now. Okay, so it may have been through different strategies. Okay, you may have come from different angles. Okay, could have been from a free workshop, could have been from a complimentary training, it could have been through, the organic marketing. Yeah, different angles. But for the individual, however, this is the sole strategy behind everybody becoming a client within my business. Yeah. So your funnel, as you can see here, is simply a sequence that leads you to the end result you want, and that is your client, obtaining that premium client. Okay. So at the top part of funnel, as you can see there, it's traffic. Okay. This is the marketplace. Now you need to get visible there. Now, in terms of the marketplace, we have hundreds of thousands of people, okay? Hundreds of thousands of people potentially looking for a solution, okay? Traffic are those people. I just want to make that clear, okay? So they're just going about their everyday lives. And and when we have a business, especially as we build into being a specialist, we're in a position where we want to put our specialist skills, our solutions, and our results in front of the right people. Okay, so what do? We put that in front of the marketplace, in front of traffic. Now, how do we actually start to move people? People with interest in our business. Okay, well, the best place to go from here, especially if you want that rapid feedback and you want to make your results move quickly, you create what's called a lead magnet. Okay, that's creating a campaign to attract interested prospects into your vision, into your circle, into your vicinity, right? And that leads them coming into your business. So for you, okay, how you're here on this training video series, as I said, it could have been a free event, a free workshop. It could have been a webinar, a free training video, a sales presentation. Yeah. It could have been a Facebook group. It could have even been a referral. Mind you, the referrals kind of fall outside of this funnel. Okay. But again, what you are going through on some level has always been a lead magnet. Okay. Then the next piece too. Okay. This is premium content. Okay. This is your delivery of the lead magnet. Okay. So it's the value to the marketplace through your lead market. Okay. It is also consistent education from you through your content to the marketplace on where you help, where you can educate, and where people can receive the help from you. Okay, now I refer to the masculine and feminine marketing approaches. Okay, the premium content piece, yes, it's the feminine. It can be, yeah. The intuitive, although there is structure, okay, it is your feminine marketing. Okay, the next piece is seduction. So I refer to this like as the art after the science. Okay, this is 100% feminine energy. Okay, so the lead magnet and the premium content, yeah, particularly like the lead magnet is very much that masculine energy piece. The premium content is the delivery, the CTAs, the call to actions to that lead magnet, but also that premium education material. Yeah. Okay. On the most part, that's science-based. But the seduction, yeah, that's an art. Yep. I'm going to show you the science of how you can create this. Then, as I said, the seduction becomes the art. The seduction becomes your flavor. It's your unique way of doing things. Yep, your unique way of being. Okay? That is what we call the seduction. And this is why someone picks you over other people that they can choose to also get help with. Yeah. Now, the final two is more on the actual clients themselves. Yeah. So the consult, this is where the prospect, has seen your lead magnet or participated in the lead magnet. They've seen your content. They've been through it. Yep. And there's enough of the art of seduction in that process. and then they decide to apply to work with you. Yep. So consult, that is the application into your service. Now, during that consultation, during that application, the final piece is a decision. And that's simply as to whether they are a client or whether they're not. Okay, so again, the client piece, um, it it's all about, the consult is about that one application call. And the client piece, it's all about that one decision as to whether they're in or whether they're not. Yeah, I just want to highlight, enrolling premium clients happens on one application call. All right. Okay. So on to the next slide. All right. So this video, well, this slide, sorry, will focus on the premium content aspect, and then we'll lead into the creation of lead magnets. Okay. So what I will say is this marketing video, this marketing module, this leads then into further trainings, okay, and further stages of the funnel. So quickly, a premium content overview, okay? Premium content is, first of all, it's instantly going to put you in that top bracket of coaching consulting businesses when it comes to your marketing. Okay. Why do you say that? Because most coaching consulting businesses do not have a strategic element to their business or a formula on how they can actually put a message in front of people and start to raise the interest of becoming a client. They don't have the strategy. They don't have the formula to present, to position their key message. Now, the second thing is, that's going to be covered in this video, is how to build on authority, how to build authority in your business and become the go-to in your chosen niche. Yeah. And we're also going to be looking at attracting qualified engagement and gradually building that responsive audience. Now, the best thing about marketing and the best thing about running this funnel will be that, yes, it does create that rapid feedback, but also the rapid results. Yep. And the best part also, like, yes, there is the rapid results, but what we're doing here, like, it's also a longer term investment because you're gradually building a responsive audience. Yeah. So we want to be that person in the marketplace that's consistently turning up, that's consistently creating massive value and consistently creating intrigue. Yeah. Intrigue and engagement, because engagement is the piece that's going to turn new and in new clients great in time. Yeah. So when I say engagement, what I don't mean is likes and comments. Okay. I certainly don't mean that. The vanity metrics. Yeah. As much as they can be a hand up moment, I get it. Yeah. As much as we appreciate them, yeah, they make you feel a little good, right? I have clients right now who are making what you'd class as, the top five, 5% in terms of income. They may just be getting one or two likes on Facebook post, yeah, or like a LinkedIn video, but they're still generating significant income, yep, through their social media, through their premium content. yeah, through their lead magnets. So when I say engagement, yes, that can mean on posts, but what I'm more talking about is this next piece, yeah. Moving traffic and engagement from curious to inquiries. So how do we move people along in that funnel process? Yeah. So from lead magnet into your premium content, and then from when they consume that lead magnet and the premium content, and then they think, yep, cool, I'm applying. I'm applying, and they apply directly to you because they know, that prospect knows that you are the person that can help, and importantly, the person they want help from. And the final piece, definitely, it's how to build desire and trust with potential clients that are adding massive value online. Yep. The amount of value you can create, I can tell you now, will directly correlate to the income you generate in your business. Simple as that. So, why does premium content work so well and so effectively? It's because, like your lead magnet and and the consistency of building out solutions for people, like your premium content buys credibility. It builds trust, and that credibility and trust, it lowers sales resistance. Okay. So for the consultant, we want to be in a position where we have consultant or coach. We want to be in the position where we have as little resistance to the end part of the funnel as possible. That is that consultation, that application call that we have with a client. We want as little resistance as there as possible. Now, well-crafted strategic content, it builds desire towards taking action. Yep. Taking action with the next step in the funnel, the next step in the process. So we're actually going to talk about how you can do this, like how you can start to create strategic content where it actually, like the whole essence of it, the whole formula behind it is about building the desire, but it's also positioning people where they're wanting to take the next move. Because when you come to helping people with results, it's always about how they take the next move in the process, nothing else. And what I'm talking about here is not only marketing, but in your service. What's the next step? Okay. Premium content also, it it speeds up. It speeds up the time frame of the sales process. Yep, it's less convincing is needed, less convincing is required for a decision to be made on that application call. Okay? That decision to become a client or not. Yeah. So what I will speak to too is time on brand. Okay. Time and brand is actually a real thing. And I'm gonna speak about this a few times on this video training. Okay, not necessarily on this, but definitely on other trainings. But effectively, when you create pieces of premium content that are genuinely designed to give value, when you do that, You don't need to convince. Okay? You don't need to convince. This can be done like when someone maybe consumes an hour of your content. Yep, the time on brand. Okay? With a lead magnet, like with your premium content, that means they may absorb a dozen different pieces of content, 100 different pieces of content. With a lead magnet, that can actually all be done at once. That one lead magnet, is all the time on brand that they need. So when someone sits in that space with you, they're actually much more likely to trust you. Yeah. And when I mean sit in that space and sit in your brand with you, they're much more likely to trust you, which is in essence, that's the whole point of marketing. But they're also much more likely to know if they want to take you up on a solution. Okay. Okie dokie. I think I've kind of riffed on that a bit. Yeah, enough. So next slide. Okay. Now, I what what I kind of want to say here, like what you see in the slide is it's a no-brainer. Okay, but content creation, you need to create those unconscious touch points. Yeah. Needed for the buyer, the prospect to become comfortable with the process. Okay, so when we're creating that, yeah, we want, let's say with your lead magnets, it's about creating that massive value rapidly. But then you also, in your premium content, right, you have these unconscious touch points. We're going to talk about that, yeah? Because again, it's all about the strategic movements, yep, to help your prospect move forward in the process. So everything you do in this formula is going to create unconscious touch points. Things that maybe people don't notice. But it just builds up. The more time on brand, it builds up more credibility, more trust throughout the process. Yeah. We're also creating star power with premium content, right? Like the micro collab celebrity status, yeah. Okay, and when I mean star power, it helps coaches, consultants charge at a premium price for the services they're offering. Now, many new consultants or coaches, they don't charge a premium price because they can't build up that credibility and trust quickly enough in the background because they don't have a system. They don't have a process. So they feel they need to work for less, because they don't have that credibility. And they work for less than what they want. That's not the case here. Not at all. So what makes effective premium content, effective today? And as I say here on this slide, it's not down to skill set. It's not down to results alone. It's just not enough. The really important point here is that we're going to get paid as consultants or coaches. Yeah, but not for the work that we do. We're going to retain clients through the work that we do. Okay. But so the retaining is about the work we do with the clients. It's got nothing to do with the onboarding of new clients. Very little. We're initially paid for how well we can describe someone's problem, how well we can describe what they're going through. and how well we can describe the solution on the other end. Yeah. So, strategy one is education based marketing, EBM, right? So, this is premium content. This is part of the strategy, okay? So, what is education? What is EBM? It's a series of content pieces that simply inform your prospect on the top 5 reasons why they should be doing business with you. Okay? And I flesh that out, like get a pen and paper, okay? Think about the top 10 questions that keep coming your way or the objections. Okay? Your top 10 frequently asked questions or objections. Now, you'll see some similarities there. Okay? Form them up in your top 5 reasons why they should do business with you. Okay? This is all about understanding where they're at. This is all about understanding their pain points. But this is also understanding where your solution fits. And it's also an understanding of what world do they live in when they go through your process. Yep. What's the results they'll get? How can you map that out for them? How can you enable them to connect what their future self looks like, the future life, the future business as a result of working with you? Now, when creating EBM, yes, it adds value, but you have to be mindful that your audience is intrigued about learning more, about what comes next. You're laying those breadcrumbs. So what happens, particularly with many new consultants or coaches, and I see this over and over again, those new service providers, they want to give massive value. Yeah, because it's natural. We want to help people, but they don't do this strategically. So instead of creating intrigue, and intrigue, remember, that's actually what helps someone reach out to you today. Yeah. What they do is they give so much away. They give so much value and so much content that the person on the other end, that prospect, it doesn't create enough desire because they actually feel that getting help would just be too overwhelming. It'd be too much. So what we want to do again, remember, like we want education-based marketing. Yes, it offers value. Yes, that gives consensus. Yeah, like it'd be really helpful that you strike that balance of not being too much. And focusing your EBM around your ideal clients' biggest problems, the objections that present to you, and the results that they're looking for. So what we're not doing with EBM, right, and your lead magnets, we're not trying to solve problems that the market won't pay premium for. Yeah. We're going for the bigger problems that people actually want solved and they're willing to pay a premium for, right? And they just want to know, hey, is this actually possible? So how do you do this? Yeah, and as I said here, it's the top queen. Okay, if you go back to your ideal clients, like I've made mention, getting pen and paper, writing these down. If you go back to the top 10 questions your ideal clients need answered before they invest in you, this is what you need to speak to in your content. Okay, now, what I will say as a supplementary, special add-on to this particular training module, I'm actually going to show you a rapid way because of doing this, because you're probably thinking, oh my God, what are the top 10 or top 5 FAQs? I've got no freaking idea. Yeah. So there will be a short supplementary video as an extra special something for you. Yeah. I'm going to show you a rapid way of determining these FAQs. Now, a year ago, potentially even 2 years ago, you would have had to do a lot of research to get this when you first start out, because you haven't tapped into this yourself. You haven't had people on the phone. You haven't had people reach out. Yeah. So you had to do a lot of initial research. Like I know I had to when I first started. But now there is a way you can quite literally create your first 10 pieces of content while watching this video series. Seriously. Okay. And it will be highly accurate. So hold on, you will get that supplementary video very soon after this particular training module. Okay. Now, what I will say, what I share on there, it won't be perfect. Okay. But it will be highly accurate. Okay. And importantly, it's a place where you can get started today and start taking action on this premium content piece, okay? Because this is how we create the movement. This is how we create the momentum, okay? Because when you're running this type of marketing, everything you do, yep, from your lead magnet to your premium content, it's creating that momentum. So I will share that supplementary offering with you shortly after you receive this training module as a little add-on for you. Okay, now, one thing I do want to make mention of, and I've put a bold on this slide, okay? You're going to want to be using, whether you're speaking in video, standing before a workshop, or in your actual written content, you want to use words that imply structure and value. Blueprint, formula, process, method, system. Okay? Because someone buying into your service, they want to know that you have a process. We want some level of certainty, yeah, that before we invest in someone, like this prospect wants to know that you actually know how to do what you're proposing, you know what to do. And the best way to do this is, again, imply that structure and value. Okay, now on to the next. Premium content, like your lead magnets, it's going to be explaining to them in ways of certainty, consistency, and what someone can buy into. Now, I understand I've been talking about premium content and lead magnet, okay? Lead magnet is the top of the funnel and premium content is underneath. I just want to clarify that. Yeah. Now, in terms of the different, and by the way, they're both premium content, by the way, the lead magnet is a form of premium content, but the difference is that your lead magnet is the piece that we're actually going to be putting into your funnel. Okay. It's a big overview of what you do. And then the premium content works alongside it. So as we go throughout the series, you'll get used to the terminology, okay? And you get used to the roadmap of how that works. But I just wanted to break that down in case you were thinking about it, okay? We've spoken about premium content. A lead magnet, okay, sits on top of premium content in the funnel, but lead magnet, it's a very special type of premium content. Okay, an education-based marketing, the EBM strategy. Okay, that's just strategy 2. Yeah, like that's your first strategy. Your lead magnet is the second. Okay, so when creating a powerful lead magnet, what is its purpose and why? Why we're using it? The purpose is fundamentally to extract contact details. Okay, extract content details and so much more. Yep. So in the intent behind a lead magnet is to gain a qualified inquiry. So what we're doing is if we think about it from the traffic at the top of the funnel, yeah? We don't know who's interested there. There's all that traffic. And we don't know if they're interested or not until they actually put their hand up for something. And that something, in this instance, is your lead magnet. So when someone gives you an email address or a phone number, or someone asks to join a Facebook group, when someone registers for an event, when someone asks for a strategy or a consultation call, when someone applies for doing what you do, then that is what we refer to as a qualified inquiry. So you can gauge the quality of that for sure. Yeah. But the only way we could do that is through that qualified inquiry. So what we want to do right at the top of the funnel, we want to create those moments, the hands up moments, the moments where they decide, yeah, I'm in, let's do this as much as possible. Because again, many coaches and consultants that aren't making the money they want, aren't building the business they want, and aren't helping the people they want, like the wrong clients, yeah, is because they're not generating enough qualified interest in the background. They can go weeks and weeks without knowing anyone's interested, or even longer, sadly. So we want to put scenarios in place where we're generating qualified inquiries as much as possible. So this then allows us to be in a relationship about how our service can actually provide the right solution to their problem. When someone's starting to inquire, when someone is like maybe, opening up the conversation in a DM, yeah, we start to understand who's applying. Yeah, when we start getting those first inquiries, we go, cool. Okay, this is the type of person we're opening conversations with. This is how we can help. Who's actually gaining the most value from what I'm sharing? You start getting the feedback, and we get to build the relationship. Again, yeah, unconscious touch points are throughout the process. And finally, a qualified lead magnet, it's awesome for a further chance of communication in future because we have the contact details, we have the relationship. So a qualified lead magnet, for example, like example, a registrant, they register for an event, yep, or they register for a particular training to receive it. They give you an email address, they give you a phone number. If you want to, in future, you can market directly to them. If you're running Facebook ads, you can direct the Facebook, you can retarget them specifically. Yeah. On some level, if they've registered or applied, or if they've engaged with your page, or they've jumped into your DM, those people you can target ads to. Yeah. It's called repurposing, retargeting. Now, if this is organic and you've released this, like organically releasing your lead magnet on LinkedIn or Facebook, Instagram, and you said, hey, here's a lead magnet, you want a piece of the value? You want it? You ask them for a DM organically, yeah? And then they're in your inbox and you can communicate with them. You've got the relationship. You can go back to that conversation at a later point. Yeah. So there's two ways of presenting your lead magnet here. Yep. And again, the masculine and feminine. You can position it with Facebook adverts, the masculine strategy, or you can do it organically, the more feminine energy. Yep. Now, once again, like once we have that engagement, once we have that content, yeah, we've crossed that boundary, that initial conscious touch point, right? And from there on, it's just creating further unconscious touch points, yeah? So lead magnets, like what are lead magnets? Lead magnets, look, they could be anything. Workshops, webinars, seminars, training videos, yeah? You've actually may have come through like a free live event to be on this video series right now. And to become a client, you may have come through an online presentation. These are just examples, yeah? They're just, so lead magnets, as I said, is all about giving massive value in the shortest time. That's what a lead magnet is all about. Okay, so let us roll in. What I'd like to give you a brief example. Yeah. So I'll just move on to the next slide. Yeah. There's a couple of examples here I kind of want to go through. Yeah. So now remember, we're talking about this from a specialist point of view. Yeah. And this is the specialist versus generalist offer versus lead magnet. And we've already discussed on your onboarding call what you're going to specialize in, and we're going to focus on that in the background. Yep. So generalist, an example in this situation on the slide, you could be a tax accountant. Yep. So what does a generalist tax accountant do? They offer a free tax consultation. So a free tax consultation, it generates interest, but for a lot of people, it doesn't actually generate the right interest. You get all the tire kickers, you get everyone that wants, a little bit of something for free. So why? It's because there's no specialism to it. Yes, tax accounting is a specialism, but you can go so much deeper. So a lead magnet for a specialist tax consultant, for a specialist tax accountant or specialist, a consultant within the space of saving you money on taxes. Okay. An example lead magnet, top 5 ways to make sure you get the best tax return from this financial year. So when you specialize and when you decide that that's what you're going to be, you can start using language that's going to intrigue someone to actually reach out and either put in their details, to register for that lead magnet, right? Or reach out and say to you directly in your DMs, hey, I'd love that. So again, which is most likely to move someone into further conversation and intrigue? I personally think like the right client is going to be far more interested, especially with the language of getting the best tax return this financial year. Yep, of course, you're going to get the more premium, the more aligned client there. So Also, what I will say there is that we're making it about this financial year. So there's a natural scarcity to it as well. And we're using language like best. Yeah. Okay. So we're actually positioning ourselves as the expert in that process. So another example, and this is my example, you've seen it. You can class yourself as a business consultant. Okay. And a generalist offer could be a PDF guide about how to get more leads. Okay. Look, it could be anything. But, how to fill up your calendar, how to add more clients. But a lead magnet for a specialist, yep. And when you're running offers, like my example's 30 days. Yeah. So professional to successful consultant or coach in 30 days. That is a specialist lead magnet. Okay. And it's a 2-hour in-person live workshop. Again, why is this valuable? First of all, most professionals feel like the reason they don't start a business is because it takes too long and they don't have a system. So me referencing 30 days, yeah, it provides them a glimpse at what is actually possible. It's highly valuable for the right person. Again, which is most likely to move someone into further conversation and intrigue rather than a PDF, yawn, boring, which they can download and potentially, like, they might print it out, they might save it somewhere, but potentially they may read it, but they won't take the action. They'll get little value from it. So what I am going to do, I'm going to show you some examples to give you an insight how to write how to write the content that supports, say, and look, I will actually talk you through the exact advert, the exact copy that I use to support my specialist lead magnet, my 2-hour professional to successful consultant or coach in 30 days. Okay, so let's go on to there. Okay. Oh, and this is what I was referring to earlier. Sorry, I kind of got started and forgot this slide was here. But going back to it, look, lead magnets can literally be pretty well much anything. Okay. Look, as I said, you may have come through a live event, you could have come through a complimentary training or a strategy call. Those are all lead magnets. Now, there's some of our clients, look, they some of my clients, they do use complimentary consultations, or they might do like a demonstration. So say like I've got a tech client at the moment who made mention the other day that demonstration she's found to be quite useful. Or it could be a case study, or it might be a video taking someone through a particular client result. Yeah, so this client received this result, and then we changed these things and we did this to get that outcome. Yeah, that's going to be really useful, particularly potentially those looking to get your help and to show that live demonstration and an actual client getting results that will actually speak to them. Yeah. Now, I've also got down here a mafia offer. Okay, so when you're early on in business, particularly when you may already have an established community or network, you can actually offer, you know, parts of your service at a heavily discounted rate. Like it's a no-brainer to say yes. Look, I recommend this only on occasion. Like use it very sparingly. Yeah, but it is an opportunity to land your first, couple of clients. Okay. So, how could this work? Well, simply put, a client might knock off, a couple of $1,000s off the full offer, and make it as a very time limited opportunity just to attract that first client or two. Yeah. So those are the types of lead magnet. Okay. Now, this is where we're going to kind of delve into how to write the content. Yeah. So this is the formula. So drill in. So we're going back to premium content here. What I will say regarding your premium content, it doesn't come solely down to the skills. It doesn't come solely down to the results again. But what I don't want you to do is to make this really complicated and really complex because there is risk of doing this. However, I'm going to break it down to be super simple for you in a very much tried and tested and very much proven 4-part structure, right? Because we don't want to make it, as I said, more complicated than it needs to be, because our goal here is not to become a marketer, okay? Our goal is to take someone through the funnel. I would personally prefer you to become a funnel expert, which is all about putting the right offers in front of the right people, you know, through the, value as a lead magnet and premium content, and then taking them through having that great, education-based marketing, that great content, and then sharing your values around the topic as well, sharing your values about what you specialize in, right? And creating those applications. I'd rather you be that person, the funnel expert, rather than becoming a marketer, right? Because by being that funnel expert, naturally from there you take on clients. So I would rather you become a master of this process rather than being fixated on, oh, how do I get this content perfect? Yep. How do I get better? And I'll tell you, you just do more of it, okay? You get better as you go. You learn on the roll. So that's a very clear distinction here. I don't want you to become a master at marketing. It's all about, I'd prefer you to become a I'd prefer you to become an expert at funnel. Okay. Now, as I said earlier in the video, most will fail within business because they don't have a formula. They don't have a formula to create intrigue. So the formula, here we go, to create premium content. In the revenue generating strategies video that will follow this one as well, like I'm going to cover off how you can build a simple system behind your premium content to consistently add more value, as in revenue to your business from lead magnets. So what I'll be doing here, I'll be giving you the formula about how to write premium content. And then in a future video, I will provide you the strategy, like the process, the system that can actually get behind that to boost it to increase revenue. Okay, but for this video, we're simply going to explore how you write it. So the formula to premium content creation, like right up the top there, ground level, is the hook. What we want to do is stop prospects scrolling, okay? The doom scroll. We want to stop them. So what we must do is actually capture their attention. The best way to capture attention is using language that of their current pains, or the flip side, yeah? The contrast, what they want a result, yeah? So the hook, you're grabbing their attention because you're either speaking to their pain or you're speaking to the person they want to be, the flip side. The hook is also where you can actually get creative with your language, because your job here is literally to stop them scrolling. Now, the second thing we dive into is the problem they're having. And you're thinking, why the problem? Because, there's human psychology here. The first stage of any marketing is being relevant to the right person. So when you're relevant, you understand, like, what makes you relevant is you understand what someone's going through. When you understand someone's thought process, and when you do understand someone's thought process, that's when you're seen as an expert. That's when you're a specialist. So understanding the problem they have is really important to writing the content. So I'm actually going to show you an example, as I said, in a second. But when we have the hook, we have the moment that stops them scrolling, then we get them straight into the problem. Okay, so when they're reading it, they go, I'm having that problem. I'm feeling that way. I'm going through this. Then you lead them through to the solution that you know that is true. And this is where you shift their mindset. So premium content is designed to shift someone's mindset. They have a problem and they think, hey, that's just life. And they think, yeah, this is just the way how life is. I've been doing this, for however long, right? And it's just not working. So the solution, the one that you know is possible, the one that knows true, that is the piece that shifts their mindset. So when you start sharing in your unique way, your unique solution, your system, your frameworks, your formulas, when you share those, they go, whoa, okay, there is a different way of doing business. There is a different way of living life, because there is a different blueprint for the way that I'm doing it. Okay, so maybe, they're thinking, I might look into this a bit. I might look into how someone else is doing it, because, hey, I'm going to look at see how you're doing it, because it looks as if to me you've got something going on that's a bit different to me, and you've got something going on that I actually want, that desire, the intrigue. Okay, and then finally, to sign off, it's your call to action. So with your premium content and with a lead magnet, like a call to action is usually an offer. And look, we'll go through that in a second. But your premium content, what I will say, is your daily content. It's your day-to-day go-to. Okay. And for your premium content, your call to action is potentially going to be your lead magnet. Okay. You're referring someone on, you're encouraging someone into a lead magnet. Okay. Or it could simply be to reach out to you directly through a direct message. Okay. Or it could be an offer as well. Yep. But what we're going to do is that we're always going to lead someone into the next step. Okay. Click here to register for my event, lead magnet. Okay. DM me to inquire about my current program. Yeah. Or, hey, DM if you want to have a chat about how I can help you with this. Okay. Occasionally, I would say that there's content that doesn't need a CTA, but it's always a strategic move. Yep, there's always something in content to move them to the next piece. Yeah, so a call to action at the end. Okay, so what I'm going to show you here is an example, a real life example of a premium content piece. Yeah, this is actually an offer post. Okay, so I'm going to show this here, right now. Now, this is the hook. Okay, this is the hook. You got the title, the six-figure salary, the peer respect, the glowing performance reviews. On paper, you're a success, but behind the success, can you see that this is a hook? Okay, it's grabbing the attention of people. It's stopping them scrolling, and also it's doing a bit of filtering and sorting. It's only hooking the right prospect. Then we go into the problem. We connect with their pains and problems. Okay, you're busy yet bored. Well off but not wealthy. Traded weekends, workouts, and family times for KPIs that don't feed your soul. Yeah? Can you see how we're connecting with their pains, with their problems? Okay? These are like as I said, the unconscious touch points. They read this going, oh my God, she's in my head. How does she know me so well? Yeah. And then you put for your solution. Okay. This is my solution. Okay. My program, corporate to consultant in 30 days or less. Okay. The solution is creating a consultant business that gives them back their time, their energy, and their life. And then we close with the CTA. As you can see here, there is scarcity involved. Okay, spots are strictly limited, only 1 or 2 private clients monthly. Now, it's true, and this is important. Don't tell white lies. I only onboard 1 or 2 private clients monthly. Okay, and why? It's so I can go all in. Okay, and let them know that once those spots fill, that's it. Okay, the opportunity, the offer is withdrawn. Don't sit on it. Okay, now a lead magnet example. This is a little different. So the difference between premium content and lead magnet and a lead magnet copyright is a lead magnet that zooms way out. It refers to the super big problem. Okay, so I call it out. Fraser Coast professionals thinking about packaging your expertise into a consulting or coaching program. I'm running a free event just for you. Rightio? You lead into the offering. Okay, remember, the formula for a lead magnet differs slightly. Okay, the offering is basically the beginning of the solution. The offering is what I'm offering. The solution itself is what I'm presenting at the offering. It's my model, it's my strategy, as you can see right here. And again, you're creating the intrigue, okay? Top 5% mindset. Yeah, I want to be the top 5. Again, the language, I'm making reference of blueprint, system, program. So there's tangibles there for them. Okay. And yes, the CTA. Knowing that this lead magnet is being supported by the system, the monetization system I referred to earlier, it's about register here. That system I'll go into great detail on a different training. Okay, what that pretty well much wraps up what we need to have a conversation about on this training module. Okay, but as I said, there is going to be a little extra supplementary to this video, so keep an eye out for that. It will hit you very soon after this one. Okay, so wrapping up though, like I thank you for tuning into this marketing module. What I will say is that you're now in a position where you can actually run the formula yourself. Okay, run the formula of creating your own premium content. Yeah, and soon I will give you a little hack as to how you get started. Maybe some of the topics you can start to cover just to get you moving in creating that content. Yep. So as we go through the videos, I'm going to give you some examples, okay? Particularly lead magnet examples, which are definitely, again, keep an eye out for that revenue generating strategy video, okay? I'm certainly looking forward to that. But overall, this is the foundation, yeah? We don't make it in this space. Okay, the people that don't make it in this space, they don't have a formula that's simple. Okay, and they don't have a formula that works on getting people moving. Okay, moving interested people into the next stage. Yep, they either give way too much value and make it overcomplicated, or they simply just don't give enough and they're not consistent and they haven't expressed well, how they can actually be a solution to the right people. Okay, this formula has your back, it covers all of that. Okay, and the formula is super simple. Follow it again. Okay, follow it for the next 30 days and you'll start to see. You'll get the feedback from the market. You can take that feedback on and then it's rinse and repeat. Okay. You'll be in a position of refinement. You'll be getting opportunities of prospects. Okay. And importantly, you'll get opportunities for people to apply to work with you. Okay. That wraps it up. I can't believe I've extended over an hour. Okay. So I'm going to wrap up and I look forward to sharing that little supplementary video with you and then we'll get cracking into more juicy content. Okay. Catch you later. Thank you.